So many blessings in your life. Not only are you expecting a little one, you're also engaged. Tell me about the proposal.
It was just such a beautiful, intimate moment.
In April 2024, after 20 long years, it finally happened. Ashanti and Nelly didn't just break the internet, they gave an entire generation the fairy tale ending we had all given up on. But to understand the shockwaves from this announcement, to truly get why this picture feels like a victory, you have to understand the brutal 20-year storm that came before it. A story of a powerful puppet master who claimed he owned her, a soulmate who publicly betrayed her, and a lost decade of rebounds, rumors, and secrets, all while the love of her life was watching from a distance. This isn't just a love story. This is the story of how Ashanti escaped industry control, survived a decade of heartbreak, and masterfully rewrote her own ending. This is the forensic analysis of every man in her life on the epic, chaotic road back to Nelly. Irv Gotti, the controlling record label boss. To understand the fairy tale ending, you first have to understand the nightmare it was built on. And for Ashanti, her story starts with one man, Irving Lorenzo, better known as Irv Gotti. But before we get into the intense drama of their past, we have to acknowledge the tragic news. On February 5th, 2025, Irv Gotti passed away at just 54 years old. His funeral was attended by hip-hop royalty like Jay-Z and Ja Rule, and surprisingly, also by Ashanti, which leaves us with a huge question. Why? To answer that, we have to go back to the beginning. In the early 2000s, Irv Gotti was a kingmaker, and Murder Inc. was the most dominant force in music. He took a talented young girl from Queens and molded her into R&B's new princess. Together, they were an unstoppable hit-making machine. Foolish. See, my days are cold without you. Happy. Rock with you. They didn't miss. But behind the platinum plaques and the sold-out shows, the lines were getting dangerously blurry. The industry whispered for years that Irv's interest in Ashanti was way more than just professional. But in 2022, the whispers became a volcanic eruption. On Drink Champs, one of the biggest hip-hop podcasts in the world, a bitter Irv Gotti aired out 2 decades of dirty laundry. He claimed they were in a full-blown relationship. He even disgustingly claimed her hit song Happy was created right after they had hooked up.
Just finished sleeping together or whatever. Okay. I think of the whole track in the shower.
Yikes. It was messy, it was embarrassing, and frankly, it gave off major unhinged ex vibes. But Ashanti, she wasn't that young, controllable artist anymore. She was a grown woman, and she came with the receipts. Months later, Ashanti sat down and calmly dismantled his entire narrative. She painted a picture of a manipulative puppet master who couldn't handle it when she finally got a real boyfriend. She talked about the screaming, the constant verbal abuse, and how after she fell for Nelly, Irv tried to sabotage her career, allegedly telling DJs not to play her records.
I'm going to say relationship. We dealt with each other, but having was Irv my boyfriend? Was I his girlfriend? Never.
He wasn't just a scorned lover. He was a powerful man using his industry power to punish her, which makes the end of this chapter so complicated because after all that drama, all that public humiliation, and all that pain, she still went to his funeral. Was it forgiveness? A final moment of closure? Or was it her way of acknowledging the man who, for better or for worse, gave her a start in her career, even if he tried to control the destiny? Whatever the reason, one thing was clear. She had to escape that suffocating situation. She needed the exact opposite of Irv Gotti's control. And she found that escape in the arms of a charming rapper from St. Louis who had just asked her for an autograph. Nelly, the epic love and the heartbreak. After escaping the dark clouds of Murder Inc., Ashanti stepped directly into the sunshine. And that sunshine had a name. Cornell Irl Haynes Jr., aka Nelly. At that moment, he wasn't just a chart-topping superstar, he was her knight in shining armor. And their meet-cute? It's the stuff of a Y2K rom-com. It all went down at a press conference for the 2003 Grammys. He saw her, walked up, and with all the confidence in the world, he shot his shot. He asked for her autograph, a multi-platinum artist asking her for her autograph. It was slick, it was charming, and spoiler alert, it worked. And just like that, the R&B princess and the hip-hop king were an item. For the next 10 years, they were the power couple. Before Jay and Bey went fully public, there was Shanti and Nelly. It was giving royalty. The chemistry was undeniable, the style was iconic, and the internet went absolutely feral for every single picture of them. But remember the constant public drama she just escaped with Irv? Well, Ashanti flipped the script completely. This time, she put her relationship under lock and key. They were everywhere, but they said nothing. They never officially confirmed they were dating for years, driving the media absolutely crazy. For a while, we thought it was romantic, a way to protect their love. But looking back, was she protecting it? Or was she hiding the cracks that were already starting to show? Because while they were smiling for the cameras, the blogs were whispering. And the whispers were all about one thing: infidelity. The rumors started popping up everywhere. Stories of Nelly with video vixens, groupies on the road, during touring, you name it. The most persistent rumor, the one that insiders swore was true, involved a model named Tay Heckard. The blogs were messy and claimed for years that Nelly was living a double life, juggling both women. We don't know if it's true, but the smoke around Nelly's cheating was so thick, it was impossible to ignore. And then in 2013, after a full decade, it was over, just like that. The fairy tale had ended. For years, neither of them said a word about why. But then, Ashanti finally gave us the confirmation we all suspected. When the host asked her if a lack of trust was the problem, Ashanti didn't hesitate.
I think sometimes when people have their own insecurities, it allows them to act out of character. You know, I've been betrayed.
Betrayed. That one word confirmed everything. After 10 years of loyalty, she was left with a broken heart. An entire era of R&B love was gone. And for the first time in her entire adult life, from the moment she signed with Murder Inc. to the end of her power couple relationship, Ashanti was truly on her own. So, what does a newly single superstar do? She hits the gym, drops a killer breakup album, and enters her athlete era.
Chink Santana, the industry insider. But hold on, before Ashanti could fully enter her happy, decade-long romance with Nelly, the blogs claim there was one more alleged detour we need to talk about. A ghost from the Murder Inc. machine. His name? Chink Santana. OGs will remember him. He was a key producer and artist in Ashanti's circle, a trusted member of the camp. But as Irv Gotti's grip was loosening and Nelly was entering the picture, things got complicated. The timeline here is pure chaos, and honestly, we live for it. We're talking roughly 2003 to 2005. Irv is on his way out, Nelly is on his way in, and Chink is right there in the middle. For years, industry insiders swore that he and Ashanti had a low-key thing going on. And if you want the receipts, fans will point you directly to one piece of evidence: Ashanti's 2005 music video for her song Don't Let Them. I mean, come on. He's playing her man, they're all booed up on screen. The chemistry was looking a little too believable. It felt like one of those moments where the line between art and real life gets very blurry. But here's where the tea gets really hot. The biggest rumor wasn't just that he was with Ashanti. It's that he was allegedly involved in one of R&B's most legendary low-key love triangles. Yup, it's well known in R&B circles that Chink was also dealing with Keisha Cole at the same time. Fans have speculated for years that when Ashanti and Keisha teamed up for their iconic duet, Woman to Woman, they weren't just singing, they were sending a message. A message possibly directed at the same man, Chink Santana. This was never confirmed, of course. It's just one of those juicy, if you know, industry stories. The romance, or whatever it was, fizzled out as Ashanti and Nelly's relationship became official and she fully broke away from the Murder Inc. orbit. As for Chink, he went on to produce for other artists and even popped up on Love and Hip Hop. But with that messy chapter closed, Ashanti was finally free. Free to fully embrace her new life and her new man, kicking off a decade-long romance that would define an era. Deshaun Jackson, the first athlete rebound. Okay, so you're Ashanti. You've just survived a decade-long public relationship and a soul-crushing betrayal. What's the next move? You drop a fire album called Braveheart, get your revenge body right, and you officially enter your athlete era. We love to see it. And the man who kicked off this new chapter? Oh, just one of the flashiest, fastest wide receivers in the NFL, Deshaun Jackson. He was young, he was exciting, and most importantly, he was the complete opposite of her last situation. But after the Nelly media circus, Ashanti was trying to play it cool. She went on TV and tried to shut down the rumors. Oh no, we're just friends. He's a cool guy, but it's not like that. But honey, the receipts were telling a different story. Because while she was denying, Deshaun was doing what guys with a new crush do. He was posting. This picture sent the blogs into a frenzy. And it wasn't just on social media. People in the know confirmed they were definitely an item. And Ashanti was even spotted looking like a supportive bae at one of his NFL games. She was trying to move in silence, but the evidence was loud. But look, let's be real. This had all the markings of a classic rebound. It was fun, it was a distraction, but it wasn't built to last. The relationship, or situationship, quietly faded out after about a year and a half when Deshaun started posting his next girlfriend. Oops, no drama, no messy interviews. It served its purpose. It helped her get her groove back and proved that the R&B princess had a new type. And trust me, Deshaun Jackson was just the warm-up act. The athlete era was just getting started. Darnell Dockett, the Twitter fling. If Deshaun Jackson was the low-key rebound, the next guy was the loud, proud, shoot your shot in front of the whole world fling. We're in 2015 now, and sliding into the DMs, nah, that's too private for some people. Enter Darnell Dockett, another big shot NFL player who saw his shot and decided to take it. In front of everyone. He got on Twitter and publicly made a bet with her. He told Ashanti that if she went on a date with him, his team, the Arizona Cardinals, would win their next game. If she didn't, he would have to donate money to the charity of her choice. It was audacious, it was corny as hell, and it totally worked. They flirted back and forth, they reportedly went on a few dates, and the blogs were having a field day with it. But just as everyone was starting to wonder if this was a real thing, reality came knocking, and it was messy. Darnell's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his children got on Instagram and put him on full blast. She went on a massive rant, accusing him of chasing celebrities and spending money on dates with Ashanti instead of paying for his kids' tuition. Yikes. Nothing kills a new romance faster than real-life baby mama drama. Unsurprisingly, the public flirting stopped and the whole thing fizzled out almost immediately.
It was a fun little chapter, but Ashanti was a grown woman. She wasn't about that kind of mess. She was ready to level up, and her next boyfriend would be a certified superstar. James Harden, the low-key NBA superstar. All right, after the Twitter drama, Ashanti clearly decided she was done with the noise. She leveled up, and she did it in silence. From 2016 to 2018, she moved on to a certified A-list superstar, the beard himself, NBA MVP James Harden. But this time, there would be no public tweets, no flirty comments, no Instagram posts. This relationship was put in a vault. This wasn't for the blogs, this was for them. For 2 years, they played a game of cat and mouse with the public, but the clues were really adding up. First, she was spotted courtside at a few Houston Rockets games. Okay, maybe she's just a fan. But then she was seen tucked away in VIP suites multiple times. But the final, undeniable receipt, the one that confirmed everything the insiders were saying, oh yeah, that's her, kicking it with his James Harden's mom. Let's be real. You don't bring a friend to sit with your mother while you're trying to drop 40 points. That is official meet the family status. Checkmate. While they never said a word, the top celebrity blogs like TMZ and The Shade Room had their sources working overtime, all confirming the same story. Ashanti and James were in a serious on and off relationship. It was real. It was just for them. And it ended just as quietly as it lived. No drama, no mess, no breakup anthems. By 2018, it was over. They just moved on. And after a quiet 2-year romance with one of the biggest athletes in the world, Ashanti's next move was, well, it was something absolutely nobody saw coming. Michael Blackson, the comedian curveball. Okay, are you ready? Because nothing, and I mean nothing in Ashanti's entire dating history could have prepared us for what happened next. After dating a string of superstar athletes, we enter 2019 with a surprising new man. Yes, Michael Blackson, the African king of comedy. The internet collectively broke its brain trying to process this one. We were all shook. The blogs started blowing up after they were spotted everywhere. This wasn't some blurry, long lens photo. This was them, bold as day, leaving a club in West Hollywood. All smiles, practically posing for the paparazzi. And it wasn't a one-time thing. They were seen out multiple times. He even showed up to her Pretty Little Thing swimwear launch party to show support. The evidence was mounting, and everyone was asking the same question. Wait, are they for real? So what was the real story? Was it an actual romance, a hilarious PR stunt, or were they just trolling the entire world for fun? Honestly, with Michael Blackson, any of those are possible. The whole thing ended as bizarrely as it began. Ashanti eventually put the rummers to bed in the most low-key way possible, posting a photo and referring to him as her homie. Friend-zoned. Ouch. It was a weird, hilarious, and unforgettable blip on the timeline. A true WTF moment. But after the jokes were over, Ashanti was ready to get back to what she knew best, a serious romance with a man from the music world. Excellent! After the wild comedian curveball, it's time to bring it back to the music world and explore the last serious relationship before the grand finale. This chapter is defined by artistic chemistry and a what-if scenario.
Joyner Lucas, the co-star romance. After the Michael Blackson spectacle, Ashanti pivoted hard. She went from a public joke to an intensely private artistic collaboration. In 2020, she teamed up with critically acclaimed lyricist Joyner Lucas for a song called Fall Slowly. And when the music video dropped, let's just say it was Exhibit A, B, and C, that something more was going on. The chemistry was insane. It was raw, it was believable, it was hot. It told the story of a toxic, passionate relationship, and they played their parts a little too well. The line between acting and reality was completely blurred. The entire internet was asking, were they acting or were they just not acting at all? And for 2 years, that's all we had, speculation.
True to form, Ashanti kept her private life on lockdown. When interviewers would try to corner her about the rumors, she would masterfully dodge the question with a smile, never confirming, never denying. But then, years later, in 2024, the truth bomb finally dropped. And it didn't come from some random blog. It came from Joyner Lucas himself. In an interview, he finally confessed. He confirmed they had a serious 2-year relationship. He called her an amazing person and dropped this bombshell. They'd even talked about having kids together.
Yeah, so you dated Ashanti. How was that? It was dope. She's a really dope person. She really is. No, she's sweet. She's an amazing person.
So why did it end? According to him, he wasn't ready to fully commit and move to New York for her.
What she wanted and what she needed, I don't feel like I could have fulfilled that at that time.
He knew she wanted a future he wasn't prepared to give. And he admitted he knew she needed what she ultimately found. He was the final test, the last what if before the what was always meant to be. He was the man who was almost right, but not quite. Because as this chapter was quietly closing, a ghost from her past was about to reappear. And this time, it was for good. Nelly, Part 2, The Reunion. After 2 decades of detours, drama, and heartbreak, Ashanti's path was finally clear. The man who was almost right had stepped aside, because the man who was always right was about to step back in. The spark? It happened in front of all of us, September 2021, the Ja Rule versus Fat Joe versus Zoo's battle. The building was electric, and then Ashanti came out on stage and a surprise guest joined her. The way they looked at each other, the way they moved together, it was like no time had passed. The internet went into a complete meltdown. Team Ashanti and Nelly was back in business, and we were all demanding a reboot. But they made us wait. They played it cool for over a year. Then, in April 2023, the first real receipt dropped. A grainy, fan-shot video from a boxing match in Las Vegas. And there they were, holding hands. It was the confirmation we needed. It was on. Still, they played it coy. In interviews, Nelly would just say with a grin, "Yeah, we cool again." But Ashanti, she was tired of whispering. At the MTV VMAs in September 2023, she decided to make the loudest statement of her life without saying a single word. She carried a custom clutch bag with a picture printed on it. But it wasn't just any picture. It was a photo of her and Nelly from 20 years prior, from the very press conference where he first asked for her autograph. Chills. That was it. She was reclaiming their story. And from there, the fairy tale went into overdrive. On April 17th, 2024, they gave the world the news we had all been waiting for. Through an exclusive with Essence magazine, they didn't just announce their engagement. They confirmed they were pregnant with their first child. And the juicy insider info? Sources close to the couple revealed they had actually gotten secretly married months before, on December 27th, 2023. They wanted their union to be for them, not for the cameras, before sharing their joy with the world. The final piece of their 20-year puzzle arrived on July 18th, 2024, when Ashanti gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Kareem Kincaid Hames, a perfect name for the son of R&B and hip-hop royalty. For Nelly, who was already a loving father to 4, it was a beautiful new chapter. For Ashanti, it was everything she had ever waited for, her first child. After all the heartbreak, all the betrayals, and all the detours, the journey was finally complete. She got the man, the ring, and the baby. It wasn't just a reunion. It was destiny. So when you look at the whole story, from the beginning to the fairy tale ending, the pattern becomes undeniable. Ashanti's journey was never just about finding the right man. It was about becoming the woman in control. She had to break free from the suffocating shadow of Irv Gotti, dating athletes, superstars, artists, and learning
learning what she wanted, what she would no longer tolerate, and most importantly, learning that her own happiness was the ultimate prize. So when Nelly came back into her life, he wasn't meeting that same young girl he left behind. He was meeting a powerful woman, a CEO, an icon who had built an empire on her own terms. This wasn't a reunion of need, it was a partnership of equals. Because in the end, Ashanti didn't just get her man back, she took her story back. So now I have to ask you, after seeing the entire 20-year saga, what's the verdict? Do you believe Ashanti and Nelly's story is the greatest and most destined R&B romance of our time? Or was their reunion just a perfect case of nostalgia and good timing? And let's be real, who was her most interesting boyfriend before the big reunion with Nelly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Love and Music so you don't miss our next deep dive on music icons dating history. Thanks for watching.